You'll never be free until you're free of your own self, your own negativity, your own feelings. I like these days to say to be free of your feelings rather than your negativity, because all negativity is feeling. I'd like you to examine that, please. So freedom is to be free of my feelings, and my feelings come from interpreting my life instead of just living my life and taking the action that comes from my experience and my intelligence to take action. So freedom is to, in other words, is to be a body. Now, to have no feelings is to just be a body. That's a remarkable thing, isn't it? Because we've been taught to have all sorts of feelings and things going on inside of us. And if you have that, you have a subculture, sub meaning under your body, and you're not natural. You can only be natural when you don't have any feelings. You're not interpreting your life. Your life is precisely as it is. And your body is living your life. Nothing else is living your life. Your feelings or yourself is interpreting your life, but it's not living it. Your body is living your life. For instance, you couldn't be here through your feelings. You're here through your body being here. You couldn't be at the breakfast table this morning, no matter how much you felt like it or didn't feel like it, if your body wasn't there. See, your body is the only truth. And it seems the impossible task that I'm endeavouring to get everybody to be their body. And the only way I can get them to do that is to point out that your feelings are the things that stop you from being natural, stop you from being free. Now, grasp, won't you, that does not stop sensations. Sensation is not a feeling. I've got to keep saying this so that you don't. The mind, because the mind will get the wrong edge of it, the wrong end of the stick. So your feelings are interpretations. They're personal interpretations. Because the person next to you is not feeling what you're feeling. But the person next to you has every moment the sensation of being alive. Like now, you have a sensation which is the registration of your sensory body inside. There's a sensation there called sensation. Now that's sensational. It's not a feeling. It's sensational. That's the beginning of your body. And then from that, you can come up to your senses and you can say, I see through my body, feel through my body, touch, feel through my body, taste, and then your body begins. But the sensation is the beginning of it. There it is. Now everybody on earth has that sensation, but everybody does not have what you're feeling about your life. Doesn't have your discouragement with what's happening. Your pain doesn't have that emotional pain. So sensation is universal. Everybody has sensation, so that can be safely said. Pure sensation can be safely said to be universal. A universal truth is sensation. But feelings are not universal in that. What you feel is different to what this person feels, and what's different to that person feels. And if you're both angry at the same time, then indeed, they're both angry, you've both got the same feeling. And it's not universal because the next person's not angry. Do you understand what it is to have a universal truth? A universal truth is something that's in everyone, every moment. And these feelings are not the same in everybody, every moment. They're not universal. And that means they're not cosmic, the deepest profundity. And now we come to me. Inside there, the sweetness, the goodness, the rightness that has no opposites, that's there now in everybody. It's there now. It's under the sensation. You actually go through the sensation, which pure sensation, which is the beginning of the body. And you sink through that. And you're in me, this extraordinary place that has no opposite. What a relief it is, like now when I'm talking about it, what a relief it is. And I, who am listening to these words, am there because it's always been there. It doesn't come and go. My feelings come and go. My thoughts come and go. My emotions come and go. But this is always like now. It is universal. That's the universal truth. There it is. Now it has no form. It has no images. It just has no attributes. But it's me in that body, absolutely intimately me. And it's deep underneath myself. And if my intelligence gets identified with myself, which are my emotions, I immediately leave me and I get identified with all this seething mass of stuff that comes and goes. But underneath it all is this universal truth, me. There it is now. That's right. And it has no opposite. There's no bad in there. It's only good, or it's only right, or it's only true. There it is. Yes. Now for a long time, you have to go into your feelings. When you're young, as I was saying, you develop feelings. Because that's the way of the society, that's the way of ignorance, is feelings. So everybody has to develop ignorance. There's no escape. Everybody has to develop ignorance. Because only in the midst of ignorance can you know the truth. Like in the midst of darkness, only then can you see light. So you have to develop ignorance and you develop feeling. And there's a time then when you have to express your feelings. Your feelings of anger, resentment, and there are whole therapies directed towards that. But I come along now and say, that's not the truth. There is a place for that if you need it. And why do you need that? To express your feelings. To go into them, and to go in and discover what they're about and do that. But that's down there. That's way down there along the ramp. And if you need to do that, you've got to do it. But why don't you come up here and be with me? There is no need to go into your feelings ever again. There is no need to release your feelings ever again. Except in love and giving. The thing to do here is action. If there is a feeling of resentment or any negative feeling, because all feelings are negative, if there's any feeling, then the question is, why am I resentful? Why am I unhappy? Why am I angry? Not to release your anger and put it onto some other poor person. Because the human way of love seems to be the right to share my negativity with my partner. Is that so? Isn't that what human love is supposed to be? Where I can share with you my negativity. And I come along and say, how dare you? Why do you want to be so selfish that you would share your negativity with your partner? That sounds to me utter and complete selfishness. Why don't you find out why I am negative and take some action instead of thinking about it? Action alone purifies. It's my experience that if you ask the question why, as you said, of why am I feeling this, there then rises another question and then another one and another one. But that's not the right question. The question should be honest and direct. Why am I doing this or being this? Why? What am I not accepting? How am I not accepting life as it is? It's got to be related to life as it is, and your non-acceptance of life as it is, which is a justification, for instance, of anger. Anger always comes from not accepting life as it is. And then if I feel angry, then I should take some action. Not to go and punch the guy on the face, but to take some action to eliminate the reason why I am reacting like this. I should take there's a practical action which we go into our feelings. I beg your pardon?
Questioning that reaction.
Yes. Yes. Not going into feelings, because that's endless. If you start to go in to examine your feelings, then that's an endless enterprise. Your feelings are utterly untrustworthy. They change every day. They change every hour. They're just utterly unreliable. And you know that. And yet we're still slaves to them. They are not what you are. They are an acquisition. And the spiritual life, of course, is what you've been doing, is getting rid of yourself and getting rid of your negativity. But eventually you have to face the fact that I'm telling you that one word for all your negativity, one word for yourself, one word for it all, is your feelings. And as you heard from when I was interviewed and asked that question, it was so unbelievable to the man asking me the question. You saying that the state of enlightenment has no feeling in it? And the answer is yes. Whereas knowledge is a direct knowledge now. So sensation leads to knowledge, leads to intelligence, whereas feelings lead to the making of more time and more difficulty. And if he riles against it and gets emotional because he can't do this or can't do that, he has to, for his own protection, get rid of those feelings. But if you want to think about it or feel about it, then you go into that endless subculture, accept it as it is, and do what you are moved to do as action. To make it better or improve, do anything as action. But not as a result of feelings, because they are reactions. Feelings are reactions. And you'll probably make things worse. Instead of being narrowed by the feelings and the fluctuations, how I feel today, how I feel yesterday, what I think about, that's a narrowness. And the whole spiritual life, isn't it, about to broaden the knowledge element, so that you don't have doubts in you, because feelings give rise to doubts. You think this is the solution today, that's the solution tomorrow, it changes, doubts rise, is that the way, is that not the way? All doubts disappear in this evenness, in this place. Leonie says that she has a violence inside of her which she wants to face, and she has faced, and she is facing, and that's the only way to do it and to contain that violence. You know, you reach a point where for a while we all, as we're developing, have to put our anger on someone else. And then we get into therapies where we express our anger, right, okay. But eventually we have to contain our anger while we look at why am I getting angry. Now if you can't, it's usually there's something in existence that makes us angry. Although we have the cells inside of us that are determining this, those cells are reflected in the external existence. So while ever you have something, Leonie, in your external life that is troubling you or disturbing you, then that anger is going to keep rising. So you have to address your external life to get rid of the inner anger. Why would I do it against myself and cut my body up? We have to contain our anger, not by suppressing it, but by taking responsibility for it. And when I take responsibility for it, I say, well, I don't want this anymore, thanks. This is my body and this is my life. And this anger or whatever it is that's in me, that is not me. And that's the truth. It's something that I've acquired due to the ignorance of my society. And it's demonic. It is the devil of the world, and the world can't change because the devil runs the world with the devil of the self. Not some devil that we invent like the Christians, but it's my own self, which has taken over my integrity. And the whole spiritual life is to regain my integrity. But while I have a self down there determining everything by its emotions, I lose my integrity, which means I start to get split and I'm divided. And so I have to regain my integrity by not giving in to myself, which means, well, the best advice that I've been able to come up with is to be true to the situation and not true to myself. So that I face the situation and take right action despite myself. Then I'll be true. But if I'm true to myself, I'm sure to be selfish, make the wrong decisions, react, etc. And you have to go through the withdrawal from the addiction. There's no doubt you've got to go through the withdrawal of feelings. Feelings are an addiction. And when you start to withdraw from your feelings, of course, they react even more. And you've got to go through a withdrawal process like smoking or anything. And it's very painful. But there's no easy way out because you made your own feelings, you made your own addiction, and then when you withdraw from it, you've got to face the consequences. We all have to. No doubt about that, because we made it. And that's justice. So if you could get to do what I said, that would be a very quick solution. And be prepared to go against any feeling. This is the page, the front page of the Weekend Australian magazine of before I left, of July 1. And it's got I'm going to talk about the pain of human love now. And it's got a drawing on the front of a very distressed young lady with lovely golden hair, and she's with these very exaggerated tears coming down her face in the drawing. And the title underneath of the article that it's illustrating is "The Other Woman in the 90s." And this woman who's crying is thinking. It's got these little dots, these little coming up to the thinking capsule that they put the words in. And she's looking at us with her tears running down her face, saying, "I don't know who to blame more, him or her." Now, I wondered if she ever thought of blaming herself. You see, that's what we do. We want to blame him or we want to blame her. But the question is, what have I done? First, what am I doing for him to go and love another? What have I done? Now that doesn't mean you've done anything, but it's the first question is not to blame someone else for my life, but to see, is there an error in my way in which I was with my partner? Did I take it for granted that he or she would be with me every day? You have to go, like I did, through human love and know the pain of it and make our own self through loving humanly, so that when we come to our senses, which means to our body and out of our feelings, we then have the strength to be able to go against my own possessiveness, my own wanting to do other things but love. Then I can go into impersonal love, but only when I've gone through human love. Have you had enough pain in your human love yet? Have you? That's the question I'm asking. Have you blamed life enough? Have you gone into your feelings enough and worked out nothing and never will through your feelings? Have you suffered enough from your feelings, which is human love? Can you say, I don't want to suffer anymore, and I will not judge any situation through my feelings? For yourself, his name is pain. We are not painful creatures. We are the way we are now, because we're attached to being human beings. We're attached to being sorrowing beings, doubtful beings, fearful beings. That's what human beings are. But we are really beings. We're cosmic beings. Actually, cosmic means impersonal, divine beings in these bodies. And that's our nature. It's not negativity. The nature of the world is negativity. The nature of the earth is not negative at all. And we are earthlings, but we've become worldlings. And the nature of worldlings is fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and all those negatives. But we are earthlings, made of the substance of the earth, of the birds and the trees, and the grass and the earth. That's our nature. And to do that, to be that, we have to leave what we've acquired, the world, behind. And the world is only our negativity. You don't have to step out and renounce the world. What you've got to do is give up your own negativity. And then you gradually become, like all of you are here, you gradually become an earthling again. And then you have the sense of what it is to be cosmic, and that freedom that I was talking about. Not the right to do as you please, because your whole life pleases you then when you become an earthling. and one with the earth. So that's what you're doing. And longing requires action, because if ever you get a feeling, you've got to take action to get rid of the feeling. And longing is a feeling, as we all know. So the action to take there, Bob, is to approach a lady and ask her to go for a walk in the pine forest. Why not? And overcome the fear that has made you always want to walk alone. So that's the action that you take now, because that was the situation. And the sooner you do it, the better. To give up your negativity, because negativity has been put into woman by man, where I come from. So to face your own negativity and give that up, because that's the male sexual part of you. And as I let people go, I become vaster inside. I become more immortal, because immortality holds on to things, and the immortal lets go, is able to let go. There is no greater thing than to accept your life as it is. That is the holiest thing that there is. And you don't need to make love to do that. But most of the problems on earth come from not making love between man and woman, and the problems all come out of that. Of course, so you can reach this state of peace and fulfillment individually. Of course you can. Now, but not for... And she shed all that damn stuff that man's put and oppressed her and said, you're not free, you're nothing, you're all this, you're just what I think you are, and you. Oh my God, what a burden. What a terrible burden that woman has taken on. And then for a man, of course, she then puts that unhappiness on you. We all both suffer. You can do that. I want to talk about healing, and the necessity for healing is in the emotional body. And are you suggesting that people who have feelings that they've never expressed can jump over that now and go straight into a state that I've described? And the answer is yes and no. Life will determine whether they come to be with me. But in the wider world out there, where they should be encouraged to talk about their feelings, like therapies do, and talk about their feelings. But I'm saying to any therapist who's with me, the quicker you can get a person to take action, why have I got these feelings? What are they there for? And get them out of their feelings, because they go on and on and on, the better, and get them right up into their body. And of course the therapist has to be up in their body to be able to do that, haven't they? You've got to be the healer. Has got to be right up here in the body, and you've got to be joyous, and you've got to be free of your own negativity and emotions to really bring about what I am talking about, because that's my knowledge, and I am free of those things inside of me, so therefore it comes from that knowledge. But then you also have your knowledge, like everybody in the room, which is your genius, and you apply that as best you can, and of course it works for people, because life will bring the people that are for you to you, and you will help them, as life will bring the people that can come and hear what I'm saying to me. And so that's how it works. But the thing is, for you always to be going deeper, for you always be hearing a greater truth. You, the healer, the practitioner, to be healing a greater truth. And as you change your inside yourself and transform yourself by hearing a realer and greater truth and living it, so you'll have the power then to change the people more, and also to bring people who more receptive to a higher truth to you. And so you move along too. And that's how we all move. Please, when you get a feeling, know that it is not true. As much as compulsive as you think it is, it's not true. Don't act on your feelings. Be still, look at the situation, take what action is necessary for the situation, not on your feelings, because they will change. Feelings, remember, are the source of thought. So the more that you're able to give up acting on your feelings or giving into them and going into your feelings, the less you will be troubled by thought, which is worry.